Thanks for tuning in to our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon and Clickbank site for sale in the sports niche. Created in September 2013, this business makes $5,287 per month in net profit. The listing number for this site is 40542. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. Now, we've got the seller with us today to go through the business. I cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. So thanks for coming on, Sean. Just to give a quick summary to the listener out there, this website was built in September 2013. Again, a monthly revenue of $5,369, with expenses sitting at right about $82 for a total of $5,287 in net profit with a 3-month average. Now, this site does include, obviously, the domain, all the content, as an email list of 4,200 active subscribers with social media accounts with 1,000 plus active followers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You will also get a writing resource, a list of 5 high-quality writers with content producers in the niche, backlink resources, as well as a keyword research and content strategy report. That's a lot to include in you, Sean. So obviously you must have
I'm happy to give it all.
Yeah, obviously you must have some background in doing this stuff. Could you tell our audience a little bit about what your background is when it comes to building and running an online business?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, thanks for having me, Greg. And yeah, it's kind of a funny story. So back in college, I worked for kind of a digital marketing, e-commerce, search engine optimization company. And I was amazed after I was learning how to do SEO that a lot of people I was working with didn't really see the opportunity of like, hey, like you can rank for anything in Google. Why don't you start a really profitable business or start your own website and make some money off of it? And so this website was my first website. I had no anticipation of getting it as big as it did. I just took an interest that I had, a sport that I loved to play, and teamed up with Amazon as an affiliate and just kind of took it from there. So yeah, my background's in SEO and digital marketing.
You know, I find that really interesting as well. Like being out here traveling and meeting different digital nomads and also just meeting other entrepreneurs like you know, I always think about the guys at the marketing agency, like, you know, you could use this to do your own thing. Why not, like, you know, why not at least have a side hustle or a side project, right? And most people are like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you like, and my response is like, how do you not know about this? Like, you're in marketing. Every marketer should have something going on the side.
Yep. We have the same aha moments for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you already given away to the audience, but maybe you can go in a little bit more detail. How does this site primarily make the money? How does it bring home the checks?
Really good. Yeah. So I work, exclusive as an affiliate partner, almost exclusive with Amazon Affiliates program. When I first started building the site, it was kind of a funny process. At first, I was like, okay, I know SEO, and it sounds pretty common sense now, but I was like, I just started doing like opinion pieces, and like there were a couple of specific retail partners that only sold gear in my space and in my sport, and I teamed up with them. And then I said, you know what, like all the stuff I'm writing doesn't really have much commercial content or commercial intent. So what I started doing was producing content specific to the gear that's used in this sport. And as soon as I started plugging in those Amazon affiliate links, I saw conversion went through the roof, revenue went through the roof, and that's really where the site started to grow. So definitely to answer your question, Amazon all the way. And then over the past few months, I introduced an info product around how to improve your skill set in this sport and how to get recruited in this sport. And that's teamed up with a guy who actually is a Division I player, Division I coach. And yeah, he kind of found me through email, and that's been a monetization method that we've used, and we've been marketing to our email list.
That's really interesting. So you started off the site actually just providing more or less helpful content, not necessarily commercial in any way for your website.
You got it.
That's great. A lot of SEOs, they do it, backwards, and they're like, oh, yeah, man, I need some filler content now. I need to put it in there. That's interesting. I could definitely see someone coming to your site and, you're speaking from experience. So obviously, actually know what you're talking about. It's not just a $5 for article kind of situation.
Right.
That's cool, man. I like that. So obviously it's something you're into. It's a passion of yours. Why are you selling the business? Why not keep it and grow it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm sure you might get this with other sellers here at Empire Flippers and stuff. I just like jumping from project to project, and I really like the beginning of things. So I've got a couple of other projects I'm excited to get working on, and I just kind of need the money, the capital to invest into those.
Yeah, that's another thing. Talking about opportunity, those people at the marketing agency, like that's what you look at the internet. There's so much opportunity. It's amazing. So it sounds like you're going to use the money from the sale to invest into your other projects, other sites, and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got it. To be more specific, Amazon FBA products are expensive, and you need money to buy them. So,
Ah, yes, the darling of 2016, Amazon FBA. That is a
yep.
pretty capital intensive business, but extremely rewarding for those who do it right, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a bootstrapping college student, when I first built this site, it was perfect. I mean, I did all the work. I didn't need to invest any time or money. It's built on WordPress. And then as I started to make some money, that's when I started to spend a little bit of money outsourcing some of this content production to writers.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. So the site was built back in 2013. What was the trajectory of the business the first few weeks and months? Like, did it, like you mentioned at first, it was just more or less high quality, helpful content, and then you added the commercial content and started seeing some good revenue. Was that like within the first few weeks of the site or first few months? How did that come about?
Yeah, it's a good question. There was definitely a learning curve for me when like I said, I was first producing this helpful content that I got some readers and I got some people who were really excited about it, but I didn't really have a keyword strategy in place, right? Where I was developing this, so I started developing content that was more catered towards commercial intent. So I focused on the products and the gear that's used in this sport, and so that's been huge.
Yeah, for sure. So would you say like 6, 7 months down the road is when you first started seeing some of those affiliate checks coming in then?
Yeah. I'd say 6 to 7 months is when I searched. Actually, maybe a little bit longer than that. Maybe 9 months before I started to see a few $100s roll in through the affiliate programs. And I mean, as you know, starting up any new site, you're going to be in what's called Google's sandbox for 3 months probably before Google will actually start to rank you. And then from there, you start to maybe build a couple of backlinks, and that's another 3 months, and then you might be on the first page after probably 6 months. I'd say.
Yeah, SEO is
It
definitely
was a
a long.
process.
Yeah, it's a long game, but it's definitely worthwhile once you get there. Obviously, right from based on what your
Absolutely.
site's earning. So tell me what you learned from this business and what you'll apply to future sites, like your future projects that you're going to be starting. Is there anything you're going to take from this project and apply to the next ones?
Yeah, I think ultimately what it comes down to is really doing some quality keyword research to figure out what keywords you can really position yourself in and rank highly right away. And then also putting together a content strategy, like knowing like what content you're going to produce for your site, because if you've got those two things down, it can be very automated. If you've got a writer who knows what they're doing, which I have a few of them who produce very high quality SEO friendly content, having that system in place is huge. That's something that I've learned has just been so beneficial.
It's funny you mentioned that. I literally just finished the rough draft for a new post for the Empire Flippers blog, all about systemization and creating a content team, all that kind of stuff. So it's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, I totally 100% agree with you. That's totally the way to go, building a team and all that good stuff. So what have you tried that didn't work? Is there anything that was just flat out did not do anything to move the needle of the business?
It's a good question. I've tried to get into social media a little bit, and quite honestly, I just don't really see a big impact on revenue driving social media traffic to the site. I'm not saying it's not possible, and I think that it could work, but I think that time and money is best well spent producing content, getting it, publishing it in WordPress, maybe building a backlink or two to it, and getting ranking in Google. That's really where you're going to see, I think, long-term growth as well.
Yeah, I hear you. Social media can be kind of a different beast in all of itself. And speaking of social media, so tell me a little bit more about the breakdown on the traffic here. I know you're getting probably the lion's share of your traffic from organic SEO, but you also have a pretty big email list for an Amazon site. That's something I don't see very often. Is that email list, do you find those people are clicking through and going to your posts and all that good stuff as well?
Yeah, definitely. So the social media accounts, I think between Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got 1,000 followers, and we just kind of post every week or so our new article. And then, the email list, it's 4,200 people strong, and I've just been growing that over the past year or two with a really helpful plugin called AppSumo made by Noah Kagan. It's awesome.
Oh, that's a great plugin. Yeah, AppSumo's great.
Yeah, so at first I didn't really know how to use this email list that I was building, and then once I teamed up with this Clickbank affiliate partner, it was just turning on the revenue from there. So it's against Amazon's TOS terms of service to send an affiliate link in your email. So what I do is I just use the email list for the info and digital product, and most of the revenue that comes from the info and digital product is from that email list.
Oh, that's awesome. That is a really good 1-2 punch. And obviously you can, if you have an informational piece, you can bring them back to your site and for them to check out that piece of content as well. That's good. So breakdown on earning type and history, you've already pretty much mentioned it, but could you just be more clear a little bit for our listeners out there on how much Amazon's earning versus Clickbank? Like, what are the different revenue streams that you could break down on the website?
Yeah, totally. So Amazon affiliate has been 100% of our revenue for the entire duration of the site. So, almost 3 years. And then it hasn't been until the past few months that I've introduced this Clickbank digital product. And so with the Clickbank digital product coming into play, Amazon still accounts for, 95% of revenue. But there's a lot of opportunity with this info product.
How stable are the earnings, like month to month? Do you find dips, or do you think it's been pretty consistent?
Yeah, so the sport is played in the spring, so it's a seasonal sport, but there's a lot of leagues in the summertime and the fall. And so you might see a dip in traffic and sales for maybe 2 to 3 months out of the year, but otherwise pretty stable and definitely peaking out in the springtime during the busy season. And you also see a very big peak around the holidays, Christmas time and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So the peak is during the summer and a bit of the fall, and then there's also a second peak then, right? With Christmas and holidays, giving gifts, people buying these kind of products for their family, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, what I've seen is, nothing converts like Amazon is what I always like to say. And any traffic I can send to Amazon, I do it because, especially during those holiday months, because easily half of the products that people are buying once I send them over to Amazon may not even be related to my niche. So you see a lot higher revenue in the holiday months just getting your visitors over to Amazon.
I bet. During the holidays, just out of curiosity, do you email your list like a link back to your website that might be like a buyer's guide on different products related to your niche? Is that one way you utilize that email list to get them to Amazon during the holidays?
Yeah, that's definitely one way I've used it is, during the holiday season, sometimes in the peak season, I'll put together a special article or something where it's like, hey, the top 10 gifts for Christmas or something.
That's great. That's a great idea. That's something I've always talked about with other Amazon site owners. If their Amazon site gets big enough, I think it is worthwhile to build an email list. Just the ability to bring people back to your site instead of just them on your site one moment and gone forever after their search engine is done or search query is over, right? How much content is on the site?
So in terms of total pages, I think there's maybe 500 or 600 pages, and let's say about 600. So 500 of those are going to be individual product reviews. Wow. It's a pretty gear-intensive sport, and there's a lot of individual product reviews from there that I've just done over the years. And then the other probably 50 to 100 pages are really what bring in, it's that 20% that brings in 80% of my traffic, and those are like buying guides. So if you're going to buy one piece of gear, I give you everything you need to know, and I give you a list of all the best ones ranked and everything like that with links to Amazon to purchase.
That's awesome. That's a lot of content, 500, 600 pages. That's a beast of a content site. How much content are you adding on a monthly basis?
I usually add a couple of articles a month, but I'm not going to lie, I've been a little busy the past couple of months, and probably, I don't think I've added anything for a couple of months, but when I take a look at revenue, it hasn't dropped at all. So
oh, that's always a great feeling.
It's always a great feeling. Yeah, to be safe, I'd publish a couple a month, but yeah.
If you decided to keep this website, what would be the least risky path for you to grow, to keep growing the website? What would you focus on? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see if you can read my mind here. So I'd say there's two areas of focus, and that would be to take these buying guides, the 20% of my content that's driving 80% of the revenue. I would take those and I would build a couple more natural backlinks to those. I've got a list of all of the other websites in this niche, and I have relationships with all of them. The website has relationships with all of them. So it's pretty easy for me to go and do a guest post over there and get a backlink to any piece of content on my site I want. And so that's number one. I would try to build some more natural, highly relevant backlinks to these buying guides and get those to rank higher. They already rank pretty well, but the difference between the number 3 spot in Google and the number 1 spot can be 50% of your traffic. And then number 2, I would say take this Clickbank digital product that I've mentioned and continue to market that to the email list. The email list is already pretty big, and at this point it's got lots of momentum, easily adding 300 to 500 subscribers every month. I would continue to maybe set up an autoresponder directly promoting this Clickbank product, and I think that it'll kind of feel like turning on the faucet in terms of revenue.
How many email subscribers are you getting a month? 300? You're saying on average 300? That's
on average, on the low end, I'd say 300.
That's solid, man. That's pretty good. I will say I did not read your mind. I was expecting you to say add more content.
Yeah, well, that's a given for sure.
That's great. Those are both really good strategies. So you're actually connected within the niche with other influencers.
Yeah, I realized right away, Greg, that I didn't want to use a PBN or buy links because the biggest, which we might get into, the biggest risk with these types of websites is buying backlinks or using a PBN, because Google has been penalizing these PBNs a lot over the past couple of years. And so right away, ethically, I said, hey, we're going to build natural links. And the best way to do that was to connect with other influencers in this niche. So I've got email addresses and first names of everybody influential in this niche to easily go grab backlinks that are natural and relevant.
This is an interesting rabbit hole to go down. I speak with a lot of people who use PBNs, so it's really intriguing. You built this website more or less with white hat SEO then, yeah?
Yeah, completely white hat.
So for a person coming in who buys this website and they want to do that, they want to keep going with white hat SEO, but say they know nothing about the sport, how would you suggest for them to go about to keep building those kind of links?
Yeah, totally. What I would recommend is, one of the reasons I really want to stress this content strategy report and this keyword research report is it's basically done for the buyer. Like, they can open up this Excel file. It'll have the next keyword that you want to target for the next piece of content to produce. You can literally just email any of my 5 writers. I've got 1 or 2 favorites, and I can tell them who they are. And they'll produce a 1,000-word article for $20, high quality. And they'll hit publish, and the buyer will also have a list of these influencers in the industry, and they can just shoot a couple of quick emails over and say, hey guys, we just produced this piece of content, would love to do a guest post on your site. And then go ahead and you can even give that article to one of your writers as well, so that the buyer doesn't have to write anything. They can give the guest article topic to the writer, and the writer will write that. You drop a couple of links back to your site, and you've just got a couple of very natural, highly relevant links.
It's very cool. When you were doing outreach, were you using something like BuzzSumo at all, or were you just manually emailing these other influencers in your niche?
Yeah. So I looked into something like BuzzSumo, and for me, it was just one more thing to manage. And good old Excel with email addresses works just fine for me. But if the buyer does have experience with kind of maybe a CRM or like BuzzSumo or something like that, I would recommend trying to use something like that to get a little more organized.
That's cool. That is really intriguing. And when you were starting to email these people, did you get any kind of pushback at first, or how was the email conversations? Was it pretty like, hey, I would like to do a guest post, and then they were like, yeah, that'd be great, or was it like, well, who are you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this niche was very hungry for a site like mine. So when I built it back in college a few years ago, So, like I said, I'd played the sport in high school, played a little bit in college, and there was never really a website that was really a player's hub for this sport where players could go and read up on what was going on, the best gear to buy. And so when I created it, I was really filling a need that this niche had. And so everyone in the industry likes what we're doing. And I know that the big concern maybe that you were getting at there with asking for guest posts is these websites linking to an affiliate site, right? And right, a site that's going to make money. And that's not a problem at all because the content that it provides is very valuable to the readers. And I've never gotten any pushback on asking for guest posts.
That's great. Well, that's case in point of what great content can do right there, right? So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that was number one. Just, don't compromise quality content and don't build crappy backlinks to your site. And I think you'll be good to go.
Of you keeping the business and deciding to keep on growing it. You've given what you would consider one of the less risky paths. What would you do if you were incredibly risky and wanted to grow this site quickly? Would you institute PBNs or would you do like paid ads? What would you do if you just threw caution to the wind?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I've thought about this. I would, if I wanted to do the most risky thing possible with high upside but also high downside, I would say building backlinks faster. I don't know if I would use a PBN, but I would maybe do like some spammy email blasts or something like that to get links. And so again, even if they didn't go well, you probably wouldn't get slapped by Google. I still wouldn't use a PBN.
I hear you on that. So, would you say the biggest risk that the buyers should be aware of is using PBN links, or would you say that there's a bigger risk that a buyer should be aware of?
The monetization strategy with Amazon, that's going to stay there. So I would say you've got two elephants in the room that you need to abide by the rules, and that's Amazon and that's Google. So as long as you are in alignment with the terms of service with Amazon and their affiliate program, you're good to go. And as long as you aren't building any low quality paid backlinks to your site or any spammy backlinks, then in Google's mind, you're good to go. And as long as you don't compromise your quality and you keep some real high quality content on the site, Google's going to like you. So that being said, it's really just staying in alignment with Google and Amazon's terms of services.
I agree wholeheartedly. I feel too many affiliates do not read that terms of service. I can kind of understand it when you're maybe a noob with it, but if you're someone who's an experienced affiliate marketer or internet marketer, read the terms of service. You'll thank yourself later. To avoid that ban hammer. No one wants the ban hammer. So
Yep.
so moving into the work required on the website, can you describe the amount of and the type of work you are doing currently for the website? It sounds like you have kind of a team and a whole process set up. So maybe divulge a little bit into that for the prospective buyer listening out there on the internet.
Yeah, totally. So like we had mentioned, opportunities continuing to move the site forward. One of the big ones, and I didn't really, you had to mention it for me because it was such common sense, is continuing to produce content. Like I said, I've got this team of writers who all play the sport and they're also writers, which is awesome. So I get highly relevant, high quality content pertaining to this niche, which is great. So in terms of like kind of I'd say, week to week and month to month activities. There isn't much day to day to do for the site. Maybe moderate a couple of comments and just take a peek at analytics to make sure nothing's dropping off. Taking a look at your Amazon affiliate revenue to make sure that, all your links are still working day to day. And then on a week by week and a month to month basis, it's taking a look at the content you want to produce. So kind of choosing an article, choosing a topic, and then shooting some emails over to your writers to get those started. And then once you get those back, it's just going into WordPress, creating a new post, copying and pasting, maybe adding an image or two, updating the title, and hitting publish. And that's something too, Greg, that I haven't done it yet, but I know a lot of people who are using a virtual assistant where once they get this high quality piece of content written, they give it to their virtual assistant and they've got a checklist of things they want the virtual assistant to do. Virtual assistant will do that. They'll go ahead and add the images, put the Amazon affiliate links in, and then they'll go and hit publish and send you a quick email and you can take a peek at it and just run it over before you hit publish completely and you're good to go.
Highly recommend the VA formatter, by the way, for any listener out there. It could save you a lot of time.
Yeah, it's something I've been wanting to do, but as you know, this site's been my baby for a while, and it's been hard for me to hand off that kind of work. But the next site, if I ever do build another site in an unrelated niche, I'm definitely going to be working with a VA.
For sure, man. I'm kind of curious about the writers. So you say they all play the sport. Was there a
Yeah.
special way you found these writers? Did you use Upwork, or was it like Craigslist ad? How did you find people specifically who were so involved in the niche?
Yeah. Here's a little tip to anyone who's looking for content producers. Reddit. Just go to Reddit, find the subreddit of whatever your topic is, and go and post it. And so I just posted on there. It was already actually a pretty well-known site in the niche, and I got dozens and dozens of interested applicants, and I just chose the ones who were writers or English majors or digital marketers, and they actually played the sport, which is awesome.
That's pretty awesome. That is an interesting tip. I never thought about using Reddit. I guess were you afraid of revealing the niche at all to a possible other digital marketer that might happen to be in that thread?
No, not at all, really. No.
That's interesting. I might have to try that. Have you found that they are more expensive than like a writer from Upwork, or have you found them to be pretty agreeable on price?
They've been very agreeable and cheaper because we find writers who they're not professional writers. They just happen to be experts in this niche. That's why they follow that subreddit. And then they also just have strong writing skills or digital marketing skills. And so I've got an agreement with all of them where I'm paying $20 to $25 an article, and that's for a high quality 1,000 to 2,000 word article.
Wow, that's not a bad price at all for that. That's awesome, man. That is actually a really good tip. I'm going to have to put that into my little notes. So we already talked a little bit about the skills and requirements that someone buying this website would need, but do you want to expand on that at all? Like what kind of skills or requirements they would need if they're not familiar with this niche?
It's a niche that if the buyer wanted to, they could learn more about it. But it's also a niche, and I've got the site set up where it's very systemized. And if the buyer did not want to have to learn about this niche and this sport, the writing resources I have are awesome, and they wouldn't need to bring themselves up to speed on the sport. They just need to bring themselves up to speed on the process and the system. Right.
That's awesome. I'm assuming, let me ask, would you be willing to commit to a non-compete? So signing something that says, hey, I'm not going to go start this site in a sports niche a week after you buy this site for me?
Yes, absolutely. I'd absolutely sign a non-compete agreement, and I don't really have any interest in getting back in the niche. So yeah, I'd love to sign a non-compete agreement.
Fantastic. How much support would you be willing to offer buyer who buys your website?
Yeah, so I'd love to provide, a solid 30 days or a month of ongoing support there for any emails, phone calls, Skype calls. If they wanted to fly up to where I live and we, take a weekend for me to show them the process, I'd be happy to even do that. And then from there on out, maybe like a 12-month ongoing support there for, if they want to hop on the call because they're having an issue with the WordPress dashboard, or maybe they just want to talk over strategy. I'm more than happy to hop on a call for the foreseeable future.
Cool. Would you be open to splits or earn out? Obviously, the best case scenario for Empire Flippers, for you, for everyone involved, is for someone to come in and just buy the website for the listing price. But say someone came in and they said, okay, I'm willing to do this site. I really like it. I'm going to give you 70% up front, and then I'll give you 30% on closing the site. And then maybe someone else comes and say 60% up front and 40% over the next 4 months based on hitting certain goals, such as support goals of you training them or something like those lines. Would that be something you'd be open to at all?
Yeah, I mean, preferably I'd like to sell the site outright, but if it was really a deal breaker for the buyer, I would be open to a payout like that.
Excellent. So I'm going to do a quick summary wrap up, and then I'm going to ask the $1 million question here at the very end of here. So get ready, Sean.
I got the $1 million
putting you on
answer.
the hot seat. For the summary wrap up for the listeners out there, this website was built in September 2013, has a monthly revenue of $5,369, expenses sitting at $82, for a total of net profit of $5,287. Again, this is over a 3-month average. The sell of the site includes the domain, all the content, about 500 pages plus of content, an active MailChimp email list of 4,200 active subscribers, a 1,000 plus social media followers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram altogether, with a writing resource of 5 high-quality writers who are actually participants in the niche as well as content producers, as well as backlink resources. A keyword research and content strategy report will also be included in the sale. So Sean, the $1 million question, what is your best pitch in 30 seconds or less why someone should purchase this business?
Awesome. Great question. So to really wrap up, I'd say, so this sport's been the fastest growing sport in the United States for the past 10 years. The equipment used to play it is very expensive, meaning you get a higher Amazon affiliate payout every click. The website is already a very identifiable brand. It's got a very positive image in the niche. Amazon isn't going anywhere, so the monetization strategy will not be going anywhere, if anything, improving. It's very turnkey. I've got systems in place that I can hand over to the buyer in a matter of a couple of phone calls. And like I said, I'm here to help with the transition, and I'm happy to stay on, answer any questions that the buyer will have moving forward trying to grow the site.
That's a great answer. I'd definitely say that was $1 million answer right there. Good job. So for the listeners out there, if you're watching this off of our marketplace and you want more information about this business, the link below this video will take you to our marketplace listing. And if you're watching this on the actual listing and you're wanting more information, go ahead and click make a deposit to learn more about this specific business. So Sean, thanks so much for coming on, man. Great information. It was great having you on.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Talk to you soon.